welcome to another episode of the Camper Report. This is from 0 to 100. Obviously, as you guys know, I'm at 100 followers now, so I wanted to commemorate it with one of the first followers that ever followed me, Waruna Perera. How are you doing today, Waruna?
Oh, doing good. Had some kind of busy day at work, but finally got resolved the things that we had to. So finally,
Yeah.
have time to talk to you.
Yeah, it was definitely a busy roller coaster for me too today. So, let's just get right into it. We've got Deebo Samuel. Is Deebo Samuel the perfect wide receiver?
I would say it's too early to determine that. The reason is this now. Deebo Samuel is like a half receiver, half rushing guy.
Yeah.
That is purely because where 49ers work. I mean, they have needs. Sometimes they are lacking running backs, and but their play calling, the design, and more especially the guy we have to talk about, Jimmy. So with Jimmy, we always have to use Debo as half rushing guy plus receiver because we can't use any of. I don't think even we have Ayuk or anyone. Let's say we had DK Metcalf, Julio Jones, all the wide receivers. Still, we wouldn't be using them to their highest potential because of our quarterback situation. So this season, if Trey Lance plays, maybe even in preseason, we can come up to a, I would say, conclusion where Debo is really at because he was injured. I think this year we saw that he created the video and posted it on Instagram, the Grant Cohn video, using it as an inspiration to get him going. So we see right now from the training camp reports, he looks much leaner, fitter, raring to go to prove himself. So this might be the breakout year, the real Debo. We might be able to see him, but I don't think still. I mean, he has the potential. We know. I have a feeling that he might be even better than Brandon Ayuk if he plays to his true potential. I think he might be that guy, but we have to wait and see what he has to offer. If he gets the proper play calling, suits to his potential.
Yeah. I agree, and Ayuk, like, I think, do you believe that they'll kind of limit him this year and maybe lessen his workload and maybe let Ayuk have some of those snaps, or do you think they're just going to go full out? Because I feel like the Niners are learning from their mistakes. We've seen it so far in training camp, and I don't know if they want that to happen again with Deebo Samuel, even though he might not be running the ball as much because of Trey Lance, but regardless, I think the Niners, at least until they can prove that he can stay healthy for 8 weeks straight, then they want to limit his workload. But it's so far it looks like he's becoming more of a downfield receiver, and I'm excited to see it because at the end of the day, like I was having this conversation with Not Your Average Sports Kid, and at the end of the day, it's whoever gives us a better chance to win. And I feel like right now, Brandon Ayuk, if you can utilize him, gives us a better chance to win, but that's just my biasness. I'll agree with that. So, I don't know. I mean, Deebo Samuel, if he doesn't get injured, he is a boss. And, but it's just, can he, I think he's learning slowly like Jimmy Ward did earlier on in his career. I think later on in a few years or even this year, he will be amazing and won't get injured as much. But what are your thoughts? Like, do you think he'll kind of do you think they'll limit his workload?
I think it will all depend on who our number 3 receiver is. Because if we have a good number 3 receiver, then we can use both Deebo, Ayuk, reduce the workloads. And then I heard that Ross Dively is doing really well.
Yes.
Today he had six catches, and it seems like just George Kittle is saving all his energy just for the regular season, just going through his motions. Okay, I'll take this slow.
Yep.
I need to keep my energy. So if you have all these guys in place, then the load will be shared. I mean, if we think about it now, basically, you have top three guys, including Kittles, and I want to see, since we paid 5 year, 27 million
Yeah.
contract to Kyle Juszczyk, what will be his workload this year as well? Because if he going to get just 2 touches per game, 2 carries per game, uh, I'm not sure whether that contract is
Yeah.
worth. So I think he will also get involved more. So all
Yeah.
these factors,
Contract year.
yes. So all these factors will come into play in terms of deciding what kind of a workload Deebo will get. Because there is another player who is going to face the same situation, Raheem Mostert. Now, he wants,
Yes.
right? He wants to have a 1200 yard season. He publicly said it that he wants to prove it. But I don't think he is going to get it because right now we have, Trey Sermon,
Trey Sermon.
Mitchell, Wayne Goldman.
Ring.
We
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have all these pieces. So I think usually what Kyle wants to do is take all these players and distribute the workload and make sure it's basically a team wins, not some individual star wins. So right now he has this ability to do that if he changes who plays the quarterback to quarterback. So then he can use whatever the way that all these weapons.
Right.
So basically, I don't think anyone will get 1,000 yard rushing
Yeah.
or 1,000 yard receiving.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I completely agree. And I've been meaning to ask Grant Cohn because I have not been hearing at all about Wayne Gallman in practice so far.
Yeah.
I wonder what I want to see him because don't forget, guys, I've been the biggest follower of Wayne Gallman because this guy, he fell in greatly for Saquon Barkley last year. He deserves a chance. And I think if you can, he said number 2 running back. No, and I agree. Brandon Ayuk, I could see him having like 800 yards, 900, something around that. Deebo is 700, something like that. And the Niners need them to stay healthy because don't forget, if you after that, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, there's really no targets. So
Yes. The other thing is we are going to get our bye week pretty early. So that's another concern because then we have to play 12 games or 13 games on the stretch after our bye week.
I think it's 11 because
11 maybe. Week 6, yes. So we have 17 games, 5, then 12, yes, 12 games.
12.
If we go into, yes, so if we are, let's say, if we get to playoffs, if we are not number 1 seed, then right after end of the regular season, we have to play the playoffs as well. So most probably that workload management will come into the picture, not individual stars. Always distribute the workload.
Yeah, I agree. And we're showing promises of Mohamed Sanu, Kevin White, different guys like that. So do you have anything else to say on that?
The only thing I want to see is what does Jalen Hurts is going to do, because it's like something. Yes, it's been taking so long. We have been hearing stories. Okay, he's good. He's been there. This and that. Maybe this should be the last year that we are going to take whatever the chances we think. Because otherwise, no, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Say, I lost you at this could be the year.
Yeah, this could be the year. We have to test Jalen Hurts because we have to come up with a decision whether we are going to keep him or just give him more chances. Okay, Jalen, don't worry, come back in 2025 whenever you are healthy. We can't keep doing that. So because it's a resource that we are spending, even though let's say he doesn't make it to 53-man roster, still we are spending our resources, time, with him. So if he's not going to work this year, then I think we have to move on from him
Yeah.
and make sure we are finding another guy somewhere else.
You can't. I was like saying a few months ago to Jesse Naylor, you can't trade him. You can't.
Yeah.
So we would have to cut him,
Yes.
or I think most rookie contracts are 4 years. It might be an option in his fifth year if it is a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
But that was a bad pick, especially since you look at Terry McLaurin now and the fact that we passed up on him. Imagine Terry McLaurin in this offense with Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. That would be one of the greatest offenses of all time. It would be such a good
that
offense.
could be.
Whew,
Provided you have a proper quarterback in place. I mean, that's a big if. I mean, we can have, as I said, Julio Jones, DK Metcalf, anyone in this defense, but unfortunately, if Jimmy plays, he can't use these guys the way that we want to see.
Right. Okay, so who are your top 3 players to watch in 49ers training camp?
Yes, so I have 3 players. First one is the cornerback, Diamado Leno. The reason is, from what we have been hearing, Ambry Thomas isn't having the best.
He did good today, but he never got targeted, so we don't really know.
Yes, we don't really know. I mean, that's expected because I remember you and Amin were discussing about this cornerback situation even before the draft. You guys were saying that even the first round cornerbacks, they would struggle in NFL in their very first year or second year because there is a huge gap between college level and NFL level. So Ambry Thomas is a third round pick. So at the moment when we drafted these guys, I mean, everyone was like, okay, we got a good draft pick. There was a hype. But I was just looking at it, okay, fine. It seems like during the draft, let's say, at 7th round, we picked somebody, we would hype him as a first rounder. So that's attitude. But now the reality kicks in. Yeah. Now we know who these players really are. And Trey Sermon, he had some fumbles. Today, I think he already has 2 fumbles in the training camp. So reality kicks in. So that's why I want to see Demo, whether at least he can, because I remember Saturday he had a good day. So I just want to see whether he can step up because our cornerback situation is really scary. There are some sensitive situations going on with Jason Barrett, the vaccine and whatnot. But the reality is, given the NFL protocols, if something happens, it's going to hurt entirely.
And also, I don't know, like the Niners, I was so in for them getting the guy from Florida State, Asante Samuel. Because, there's questions on him. But when you get a corner in the 3rd round, when you get like an offensive lineman, like it's not as bad because offensive linemen anyways get drafted in the 2nd, 3rd round, right? And instead of getting the best guard, why not get, corners go early. And this guy, corners, especially in the 3rd round, you're expecting a backup corner, sometimes a splashy pick, sometimes you'll get a starter, but I don't exactly get that pick. I was so for them getting Asante Samuel. We passed up on him twice. Well, almost twice, because we traded down and then he went the pick before the trade, the pick that we went. So
so that's a situation. So if someone can step up, if Demo can step up, that would be really good for us. So that's number 1 guy that I would be looking into. The second guy is Mohamed Sanu. Now everyone is really hyped, like, okay, finally we have solid wide receiver number 3. But I want to see whether he can really prove it, he can maintain it, because we saw him last year, right? I remember he had I can't remember which game he played. I mean, he was there, he caught some passes in the middle, not much, I think maybe 5 passes or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't, I remember,
Yeah, because right now, 2 areas, I mean, we have 3 areas that we should be concerned of. Offensive line, still I'm not sure this offensive line is playing, let's say, 50% better than last year. I mean, we hear good stories about Mike McGlinchey. He has put on his weight and whatnot, but we don't know until preseason comes in how they will really do it. Then the cornerback situation, then the wide receiver situation, because after Deebo and Ayuk, it seems like we don't have anyone.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm really looking forward for Sanu, whether he can do it or not.
I really agree because it's like it's not like we're gonna get a guy like week 5 or anything to fill in unless it's really, but I don't think so because it's like we need a cornerback more and we need an edge rusher. So like I don't think we're getting a receiver. We're stuck. So yeah, we need a guy to break out. I have a sleeper guy to be the number 3. I think Kevin White or Ross Dwelly. We're going to use Ross Dwelly a lot more in the number 3 position because, I mean, he's a tight end, but he's a lengthier tight end. He's a skinnier tight end. So those two guys, Ross Dwelly's showing great flashes. He's had 6 catches in 5 days or something, which isn't horrible. So have you gone to 3 or are
so my third guy is obviously the guy we are talking about most, Jimmy Garoppolo, because basically I want to see whether he is going to improve, whether he is showing something different that we know the Jimmy from past. Now, having said that, it's really unfair for Jimmy because now we have Trey Lance. We are going to compare him with Trey Lance. The whole situation that Jimmy is getting blamed, that he is not on the field, that he can't do this, he can't do that, he is not extending the offense, it's not his fault. It's Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. They are the ones responsible. Because, for example, let's say if you ask me to develop a software, let's say you ask me to develop a calculator. Yes, I can do the calculator program. It's maybe, let's say, 10-15 minute work. But if you ask me to develop Google search, something similar to Google search engine or YouTube, then I'm not your guy because it's something totally beyond my ability. It needs so much of bunch of expertise in different level. So if you assume that if you hire me and ask to build the YouTube, and after 1 month, if you come to me and say, Waruna, what are you doing? This is not the way you should work, then it's your fault because you did not assess me properly. You should have, before hire me, you should have done your homework. So I think that is one thing I always, give the pass to Jimmy because Jimmy was really treated unfairly in this organization.
Good point. That is a good point. I mean, you're saying, hey, guy, like, I've been injured twice. You guys have put me behind a horrible offensive line, good run game, but there's not really been that's true. I mean, honestly, Jimmy hasn't been, and he succeeded. I feel like he would have succeeded a lot more behind the Patriots team because they had a good O-line, great run game. So
yeah, the other thing is now we talk about Jimmy's winning record. At the same time, when team loses without Jimmy, that gets multiplied. That's also the problem with this front office. They should have never keep Nick Mullens and CJ Beathard as second string and third string quarterbacks. I mean, they are not. Nick Mullens, at best, he's a third stringer. They should have, at least drafted a quarterback in second round in 2018, 2019, build this quarterback room. They didn't do that. Once Jimmy goes down, you have no one. Then Jimmy that's the thing. If you really think about that, Jimmy, let's talk about the realities over here. Realities in the sense, now you have clearly two camps within the 49er fan base.
Yep.
Trey Lance versus Jimmy. Now, within the Trey Lance camp, to be honest, some kind of a I would say hatred going on towards Jimmy, vice versa. Now, what they say is, okay, this guy can't stay on the field, then we lose. If he can't stay on the field, it's not really his fault. That's football. But if the team loses when Jimmy is not on the field, it's not Jimmy's fault. Go blame Kyle. Go blame John Lynch. Ask them why you didn't go to Patrick Mahomes. The day, what do you call it? I lost the word for that.
Wait.
Workout day, right? Patrick Mahomes, the day
I
he
know.
workouts,
Yeah.
right? So that's their fault. I don't agree with saying Jimmy is trash. No, Jimmy.
There is things for it, like you're saying, like they didn't get a quarterback in 2017 or whatever. The O-line's been terrible. That's true. And the one thing before you go again, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's not going to sit out in preseason because before we've seen him not play barely anything in preseason, but now he has a competition to win. So that's going to be exciting to see him in preseason.
Yes. Only thing is, having said that, I don't think that Jimmy should be the starter going into week 1. I believe Trey Lance has already showed us that he can do it. Still, he's playing against the second team in terms of defense. But he has first team receivers and tight ends playing with him. Still, so what I think is this front office, for some reason, they are really good at changing the narrative. Now, we have almost forgot that the last season that we won only 6 games. The injuries were to blame, right, during the last season. But let's take another team had much, worse situation than ours. New England Patriots. They had a quarterback who played for 20 years, greatest of all time. He went to another team. Cam Newton comes in. First 3 weeks he played really well. He played well, 2-1 record. Then he got COVID. He lost his rhythm. So he was struggling. Then there were a bunch of guys who opted out due to COVID. So I think New England was the team that was hit terribly with the COVID situation. Given everything happening around that organization, they were managed to win 7 games. We only won 6 games.
Yeah,
so that's the organization which wins. So
that is true.
Right? So that's the thing. So this front office always, they know how to make this, what you call, flash plays. So they drafted Trey Lance. Now everyone is like, okay, we drafted Trey Lance. It's good. It's good for 49ers. It's like, okay, Kyle, you did an amazing job. John Lynch, you did an amazing job. So does Jet Joke. But we forget, why are we in that situation? Why did we have to draft Trey Lance in the first place? Because for 4 years, they were unable to do their job properly. And they got out of that mess using mortgaging their future. Now we have all forgot about it and we are like, okay, these are our heroes. Actually, I don't know. We have to evaluate them for their real job performance.
They make 50 because they make good moves on one hand, bad moves on the other. And then it's like, I think they're learning from their mistakes so far. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
But the thing is, right, now, if you think about it, even now, during this training camp, what did we hear about Kinro? Kinro might have a serious injury. We don't know.
Another one. Yeah.
We don't know. He might play through his first contract years and get into the second contract, or even this year, there's a high chance he might not last these 17 games because we were expecting him to perform better. It's true that he did not perform up to the first round pick in last year. So everyone was saying, okay, this is going to be his breakout year. Kinro is going to do much better. There was so much hype. I mean, if you saw Beast Writer, he talked about explaining in detail about Kinlo, saying, okay, Kinlo will do this, Kinlo will have this number of sacks. Even I watched it and it really did make sense to me. But I don't think any one of us knew about this injury situation. And right now, it seems like 49ers did know about his injury situation, because I don't think
And they
organizations draft, when they draft players, they check everything, not just the injuries, his mental health, uh, what he has done previously. They are like FBI, right? They check every aspect of the player. They have the profile. So why did they pull the trigger, having everything? Why did they pull the trigger? So
yeah.
as you said, they make one good thing
And
and
then
again covering with another bad decision.
yeah. We'll get to that. Means asking a question, do you think the 49ers will trade Jimmy G to the Colts? We will get, because we have the last topic, I believe. But let's try to
Yes.
the last topic will be that. So I'm going to get on to my three. My first one is Contavious Street. I
Okay.
think he is it's going to be interesting because now with the Javon Kinlaw thing and everything else, and the way I saw him at the presser a few days ago, I think I think he's really matured as a person. He's learning from his mistakes. Chris Kasurik's really getting something out of him. So, like you said, Javon Kinlaw, they can't rely on. They've been sweet. And now Contavious Street could be that guy. I think he will be that guy, especially. Is it Kevin Givens that's out for the first 6 weeks?
I can't remember exactly.
I think it is. I believe it is. But anyways, and then my second one's got to be Jermichael Hasty. With all the running backs in this room, if he outplays even Elijah Mitchell, who was drafted, that will be so funny because he's an undrafted guy. If he outplays, I don't know about Wayne Gallman, but I could see him being the third running back on this roster, fourth running back on this roster.
Oh, interesting. Actually, I was thinking he might be the guy getting left out this year.
It could be, but it looks like he's outplaying Elijah Mitchell.
Hmm.
So it could be.
Maybe preseason will tell us.
Only and that's the thing. That's why I'm so excited for preseason, because Contavious Street, all these guys that we don't know what they're gonna do, really gonna tell us something. So the third one's gotta be Ambry Thomas. I'm gonna say that. My Michigan buddy. I love Michigan. And I want to see him. This is a command. Ambry Thomas, they're not expecting you to start first, but they need you to make a jump. And maybe it's a little too much pressure in the third round, but be that breakout player this year. And I love Ambry Thomas, but right now it's looking like he kind of isn't doing too well. So I want to see him break out this year, and only preseason, when he's going against those second string receivers, will tell us if he really needs more time on the bench. And if I think a lot of the 49ers late signings, obviously we heard Justin Houston went to the Ravens. So a lot of I think they're going to try to target corners instead of D-line. I think a lot of the 49ers signings will be right before the season starts, after preseason, because Ambry Thomas is really going to show us. And Ambry Thomas still has a few weeks to prepare. I mean, he's only been in practice 5 times. So Ambry Thomas is a big person because, like I said, I think a lot of every team signings will be right before week 1, because I think they're going to try to find what they're going to try to see what they have out of Ambry Thomas. Even though he's been struggling, preseason is going to be a good way to find out if he is good against other teams' receivers. So Ambry Thomas, that's my third guy. Jermichael Hasty, Contavious Street, Ambry Thomas.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, do you have anything else to say on that, or?
Only thing I want to say is, we need to be really careful about this cornerback situation. Last year, Dolphins game, Brian Allen.
Oh.
It was a torture. It was embarrassing.
Oh.
Because That's why I really blame Kyle Shanahan and the front office because some way, I mean, in any line of work, for example, let's say I hire someone, I have to make sure that this guy is capable at the level that we want him to
Mm,
execute. If the person can't execute at the level we want, then it's my mistake. So they would put some guy out there, and Kyle Shanahan, when it comes to the press conference, he would say, "Okay, we had everything, we had the game plan, but guys didn't execute." That game, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he had the perfect passer rating, 158.4. I mean, he the looked like a genius quarterback. So we can't let that happen because actually I was shocked because it seemed like no matter how good your offense is, if your defense is going to give 50 points, and in the other thing is in your defense you can have Fred Warner, you can have Jimmy Ward. Still, if you have one bad cornerback, they are going to target him every
yeah.
play.
And I
Every
think Deontay Johnson or whatever is right now our number one corner because
play.
Manuel Mosley's out, which is not good.
Yes.
I mean, why would you want to have a guy who literally, like, I remember the Eagles game was another example. That guy
Yes.
he gave up a big play in that game that could have meant the game for the 49ers. So, yeah, completely agree.
And
So,
if you remember, even Richard Sherman, how he struggled in Buffalo Bills game. Sherman had no idea. There was a one touchdown pass. I can't remember whether that was in the first half or second half. Sherman was like watching everywhere. Okay, what did happen?
yep,
So even the experienced guys struggle. So I don't know. Maybe
yep,
they have a
that's
plan.
true. Yeah, we need. I think Ambry Thomas fits the bill athletically for what the Niners want, but it's going to be interesting to see if he develops or if he just kind of stays. Again, there's not a lot of pressure on him because again, he was the third round pick. Corners usually go the first two rounds. Good corners.
Yes.
Um, it. I knew Eric Stokes was never going to go in the third round like he was projected to be. I knew somebody would get him in the early second round. I mean, especially just how good he was, how fast he was. I knew that corner would be going early too. So, what will be the final? So, this is the topic. I mean, what will be the final nail in the coffin for Jimmy Garoppolo? And to add that to that, obviously Carson Wentz. I'll get into more of this detail in another show, but Carson Wentz 6 to 12 weeks out. When he usually we see players when he comes out when they come out, when they come back from injury like these, they just don't see the same. And real quickly, Carson Wentz, I believe it was in 2018, 2019, had back problems all year for the Eagles. Man, oh man, that was bad. I did not. Uh, hold on, real quick. I saw that
Yes.
dunking video. How tall are you, and what was the? Yeah, it was at 10 feet, and I am 5'3". So I, anyways, so, um, I, I believe in 2018 it plagued him the whole year. Like that was a crazy year because and you just Carson Wentz was not the same Carson Wentz from the year before the Super Bowl year in the regular
Yes.
season. So he was not the same Carson Wentz at all, and that he struggled. So I think because of that and just everything else, this nail in the coffin could have already happened.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's pretty strange because if you saw today, for example, Kyle Shanahan at the press conference, somebody asked about, okay, Trey Lance is, I mean, basically doing all he can. He's watching game tape. He's learning the playbook and everything. He's the guy who has spent most of the time with his iPad and whatnot. And Kyle Shanahan, without, I mean, anything, he'll just say, okay, you can just let it play and watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand this because for some reason, Kyle Shanahan was like all about Trey Lance. They were telling
Mm-hmm.
that Kyle was drawing plays, designing plays during the flight. After the draft, he was saying Trey Lance is a guy. CEO mentality. He's really, I mean,
Yeah.
matured. He knows what, I mean, not just his ability with the play, off the field, how he conducts himself. Then he talked about somebody asked, is it a concern that he only played 17 games and one game in 2020? His answer was, if Trey Lance played full season in 2020, we might not have got him with the third pick. He would have gone much higher. So there was so many stuff they were talking about just to, I mean, uh, pick up the value of Trey Lance.
Right.
I mean, it was not really needed at the time because you already
Exactly.
got your guy and you still have Jimmy. So you need to have some plan with Jimmy. But right now, starting with this training camp, it seems like, who is Trey Lance? We don't know that guy. They are treating him like someone who drafted in late third round, late
I
second
know.
round. So that's a treatment. So I was pretty shocked today when Kyle said that because, again, for some reason, he never understands how to speak in front of media. The
Yep.
correct answer should have been,
Yep.
yeah, that's interesting. He's a hardworking kid. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
and just wave it
I
off
really
instead
like.
of being like, "Oh my gosh, he is like
Yes,
And Grant Cohn brought up a great point. It went from being have Jimmy Gar's our guy to have you seen Trey Lance? Have you seen Trey Lance?
yes,
That's all I can say. And it's like his nail in the coffin has been. I mean, it's soon, and I'm excited, but at the same time, it's like my brothers brought up a good point, and they're not 49ers fans, but they were like, who do the like? I get that you guys like Josh Rosen and everything, but really, what has he proven? Like he's barely gotten any reps. Most of the reps have kind of not been that great. So honestly, I really think that even if Jimmy Garoppolo is our backup or whatever, obviously the cap space is horrendous, but our backup, if Jimmy Garoppolo leaves, is now becoming Josh Rosen, Nate Sudfeld, and man, yeah. So that's all I gotta say. Real quick, Nick Mullens, actually. So there was some news on Nick Mullens, and he actually might become the second string for the Eagles.
yeah, that's interesting. Now, Grant was saying usually during the training camp, Nick Mullens beats Jimmy. All,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last few seasons. I think I asked this question from him yesterday. So what he said was, well, John Lynch, when asked about that situation, his John Lynch's answer was like, Jimmy is the guy who steps up when it's in the real game time. Like when the bullets are going here and there, then he can step his game up and perform really well. So I actually wrote an article about Nick Mullens because Nick Mullens has some weird stats. After 13 starts, he has, throwing yards only second to Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes,
Wow.
right? So he's from Mississippi State University. So that's where Brett Favre went to. So he broke Brett Favre's single year record as well. So if you look at from a outside standpoint, just that two stats, you would think about Nick Mullens as, oh man, that is a great quarterback. But the problem is when comes the game time, he's a tough guy, physically tough,
Yeah.
but mentally if he does a single mistake, it keeps going on. He can't
Yeah.
get over that. That's what makes the difference between a good quarterback and an average or less than average quarterback. Because if you remember during 2019 Super Bowl, first half Mahomes, he didn't have the best of games, right? He was getting sacked. He threw an interception or two. In the sidelines, after one huge tackle, he's basically pounding to his chest and shouting, I'm a beast, hit me." Have you ever seen Nick Mullens has the same
No.
attitude?
Nick
No,
Mullins gets up. His whole face is
Yes.
just like unscrewed. He's like,
Yeah, because he takes a mental beating. All the good players. I mean, the best example is what happened in Super Bowl this year. What did Tom Brady do? Did he back up when the I think it was Tyrann Matthew, right, who spoke to
uh,
him and said something, and Brady went
oh
after him.
yes,
Brady
yes,
went
yeah,
after him. I mean, imagine this guy is 21-year-old veteran in the game. Still, he has that energy, fire to talk back. He doesn't care
yeah,
who whether he's playing against. I don't know. Maybe even 10 guys come at him, he would still stand tall and fight back. So Mullens, he has that toughness physically, but when it comes to mentally, I think he lacks that toughness to perform. So I think, yeah, we came to Nick Mullens, but coming back to the original point, where's the, I mean, finish line for Jimmy? I don't think that trade to Cole's going to happen,
yeah,
because if that happens, they are also going to take a risk because they already have a quarterback who is injured, and they are going to take another quarterback who is injury prone, and again, $27 million.
yeah.
So if we are to do that, probably we'll have to share the cap and everything. But still, I don't think they are going to do that. Most probably, Jimmy will start week one, even though I really believe Trey will start week one. It feels like Jimmy will start week
Mm,
one. If he starts week one, there is a high chance that he will play the entire season. Because
good point.
what happens is, if he starts week one, he has other components, pieces to play better than him and bring that win. So basically, down,
Yeah,
let's say by the bye week, we might like 4-1 or 5-0. So
right.
then you can't replace Jimmy. The people will
Yeah,
say, okay, let the kid sit. Jimmy is doing really well, let him finish.
yeah.
So I think that's most probably going to happen.
Not your average. So first thing, just do tons of squats, like literally tons of squats. Work your ass off, or ass. Sorry. Work your butt off every day, and I just am super surrounded by people that will help me with that type of stuff. So, um, yeah, I agree with you. Jimmy Garoppolo, if he starts week one, like we might try to get rid of him in at the buy or like trade deadline, but I yeah, that's why preseason is so. When does preseason start?
12th of August, first game between Cowboys versus who are the Steelers?
No, Chiefs, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah, I can't
Chiefs.
exactly
Because they
remember.
play
Okay.
Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, or Chiefs, Raiders,
Okay.
Chargers. Something like
Okay.
that.
August 12th. Like we have another 10 days only. Yes, 10 days.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
10
excited.
days.
I'm excited. Um
Yes,
I
just 10
think
days.
I miss it when the Niners used to play the whole AFC what is it? West? Because because the Broncos, I live in Montrose, which is like 5 hours away from Denver, and I was hoping they go to a preseason game this year, except they cut the Broncos game out. So
Okay.
no, but anyways, this has been. Do you have anything else, or otherwise? I think
No, no, I think this went really great.
yeah. Hold on. Oh, though there was actually a few things that I real quickly wanted to say. It's amazing how in the past month the teams that Jimmy was going to go to have really swung. Like it went from being Patriots, then Texans, then Colts. It's crazy. And then the Niners were expecting Jimmy to be better than he is. They are realizing that because we've seen so far that he really hasn't done that good. So they're realizing kind of that he's not doing too well. So
Yes. The thing is, when we say he's not doing too well, always that Trey Lance factor comes in. Now we want Jimmy to do things that Trey Lance does, but he can't do it. So
we're setting
literally,
a
he's
higher
the same
standard.
quarterback, same guy. It is what it is.
Yeah, right. Well, this has been a lot of fun, Waruna. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If anyone tuned in late, I'm sorry that I went over Grant Cohn's show, but it was crazy, crazy, crazy. Like, we were supposed to do it like 30 minutes before his show, and then it
Yes.
kind of just, Waruna got stuck with something. So I'm sorry, guys. I'll post this after, and just kind of, we'll get it to you guys. And thanks for watching. This has been a lot of fun. We will see you guys later. And Waruna, have a great day. This has been so much fun.
Okay, I enjoyed it too.